When billionaire Elon Musk made an unplanned visit to his old high school in Pretoria, he expected to find memories. Instead, he found Salvador Vargas, the same janitor who had quietly protected him from bullies 4 decades earlier, still mopping floors at age 80 despite painful knees and meager pay. What began as a chance encounter would lead to a shocking revelation about their shared past and a life-changing decision that no one saw coming. Because sometimes, the most important people in our lives are the ones we barely notice at all. Elon Musk stepped out of the sleek black car and looked up at Pretoria Boys High School. The building hadn't changed much in the nearly 40 years since he'd been a student here. The same red brick walls, the same tall windows, the same feeling of possibility. And for Elon, the same mix of good and bad memories. "We're running late, Mr. Musk," said Talia, his assistant. She checked her watch with a worried frown. "The education minister is expecting you in Cape Town by 4. "This won't take long," Elon said. "I just want to see the place before we announce the new program." Talia nodded and stepped back to make a phone call. Elon walked toward the front doors alone. He hadn't told the school he was coming. He didn't want a big welcome or news cameras. He just wanted to see the halls where his dreams had first taken shape. The doors were unlocked. School was out for the day, but lights were still on. Elon slipped inside and stood in the main hallway. The smell hit him first, floor polish and chalk dust, and that special school smell that never changes. For a second, he was 16 again, carrying too many books, trying to avoid the boys who liked to push him into lockers. His footsteps echoed as he walked down the hall. There was his old math classroom, and there was the library where he'd hidden during lunch when the bullying got bad. He traced his fingers along the wall as he walked, feeling the slight bumps in the paint. Elon turned down another hallway toward the science wing. This was where he'd spent the most time as a student, where he'd first fallen in love with physics and engineering, where a teacher had given him a computer programming book that changed his life. As he rounded the corner, he heard the soft squeak of a mop on the floor. An old man was cleaning up what looked like a spilled soda. He worked slowly, carefully, his back bent with age. There was something familiar about the way he moved. Elon stopped and watched. The man wore the same gray-green uniform the janitors had worn when Elon was a student. The man finished cleaning the spill and straightened up with obvious effort. He had to be at least 80 years old. When the man turned around, Elon felt a jolt of recognition. "Mr. Vargas?" he said before he could stop himself. The old man squinted at him, then his eyes widened in surprise. "Well, I'll be," he said, his voice rougher than Elon remembered, but still with that same gentle tone. "Young Musk, is that really you?" Elon walked closer, amazed. "It's me, Mr. Vargas, but I'm not so young anymore." Mr. Vargas leaned on his mop, a smile spreading across his weathered face. "Not young, maybe, but I'd know those eyes anywhere. Always looking ahead to something the rest of us couldn't see yet." Elon couldn't believe it. Salvador Vargas had been the school janitor when Elon was a student. He'd been old even then, or so teenage Elon had thought. To see him still here, still working with his mop and bucket at what must be 80 years old, was shocking. "You're still working here?" Elon asked. "After all this time?" Mr. Vargas nodded. "Where else would I go? This place is my home." He gestured around the empty hallway. 52 years now. I've seen a lot of bright young people come through these halls." Elon did the math in his head. 52 years. That meant Mr. Vargas had started working at the school before Elon was even born. "I've seen what you've been up to," Mr. Vargas continued. "Electric cars, space rockets." He chuckled. "I tell the kids, I knew him when he was your age." "Too some of them don't believe me." Elon felt a strange tightness in his chest. This man had been kind to him during some of his hardest days at school. He remembered how Mr. Vargas would appear like magic whenever the bullies were around. How he'd find reasons to mop near the library when Elon was hiding there. Small kindnesses that had meant everything to a lonely, awkward boy. "You should be retired by now," Elon said. "Enjoying life." Mr. Vargas shrugged. "This is my enjoyment. The young people keep me going." He pointed to his heart. "Keep me young in here, even if the rest of me is getting old." A bell rang somewhere in the building. Mr. Vargas straightened up and grabbed his mop. "That's the late bell for extra classes," he said. "Got to finish the science wing before the robotics club comes in." He started to shuffle away, then turned back. "It was good to see you, Mr. Musk. You did good for yourself. Real good." Something about seeing the old man still working, his hands gnarled with arthritis, his back bent from decades of mopping these same floors, struck Elon deeply. This man had spent his entire life taking care of this school and its students. What kind of retirement could he have on a janitor's salary? "Mr. Vargas," Elon called after him, "do you have time for a cup of coffee? I'd like to catch up." The old man looked surprised, then pleased. "For you? Sure. Let me just finish this hallway. 20 minutes? I'll wait," said Elon. He took out his phone and sent a quick text to Talia. "Need to reschedule Cape Town." Something important came up. Her reply was immediate. "The minister won't be happy." Elon typed back, "We'll make it up to him. This can't wait." He put his phone away and watched as Mr. Vargas slowly mopped the hallway, taking care to get into every corner. The old man hummed softly as he worked, some tune Elon didn't recognize. Elon's mind was already racing ahead. One of the richest men in the world had just discovered that someone who had shown him kindness as a boy was still working a hard physical job at 80 years old. There had to be something he could do about that. But first, he wanted to talk to Mr. Vargas, to understand why he was still here after all these years, and to thank him for those small moments of kindness that, in the lonely world of a bullied teenager, had meant everything. Elon leaned against the wall and waited, remembering the boy he had been and thinking about the man Mr. Vargas had always been: quiet, hardworking, and kind. The meeting in Cape Town could wait. Some things were more important than business. As Elon watched Mr. Vargas finish mopping the hallway, memories flooded back from his school days. He remembered one day in particular during his second year at Pretoria Boys High. A group of older boys had cornered him in the bathroom. They'd taken his backpack and were about to dunk his head in the toilet when the door suddenly opened. Mr. Vargas had walked in with his mop and bucket. "Need to clean in here, boys," he'd said quietly. "Big mess in the other bathrooms, too. Principal's asking who made it." The boys had dropped Elon's backpack and hurried out. Mr. Vargas had never mentioned what happened. He'd just nodded at Elon and started mopping. But the next day, and many days after that, Mr. Vargas always seemed to be cleaning nearby when those boys were around. "All done," Mr. Vargas said now, breaking into Elon's thoughts. He put his mop in the bucket and pushed it to the side of the hallway. "There's a teacher's lounge around the corner. Nobody uses it this time of day." Elon followed Mr. Vargas to a small room with a coffee maker and a few worn couches. The old man moved slowly, but with purpose, like someone who knew exactly how much energy he had and didn't waste any of it. "Still take your coffee black?" Mr. Vargas asked as he filled 2 cups. Elon raised his eyebrows in surprise. "You remember how I take my coffee?" Mr. Vargas smiled as he handed Elon a chipped mug. "I remember all my kids' little habits. You used to stay late working on your science projects. I'd bring you coffee sometimes, remember?" Elon did remember. When he had permission to use the computer lab after hours, Mr. Vargas would quietly leave a cup of coffee on his desk without interrupting his work. "I remember," Elon said, taking the mug. "You never said anything. Just left it there. Didn't want to break your concentration." Mr. Vargas eased himself down onto one of the couches with a small groan. "You were always so focused, like you were trying to solve all the world's problems before dinner." Elon sat across from him. "I can't believe you're still working here, Mr. Vargas, aren't you? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how old am I?" Mr. Vargas chuckled. "Turned 80 last month. And yes, I should be retired. That's what my son says every time he calls from Australia. But," he looked out the window at the school grounds, "I'd miss this place too much." Elon took a sip of his coffee. It was surprisingly good. "You were always kind to me," he said. "I never thanked you for that." Mr. Vargas waved his hand dismissively. "No need for thanks. I just did what was right." "Not everyone does what's right," Elon said quietly. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Through the window, Elon could see students crossing the grounds, probably heading to after-school activities. They looked so young to him now. "You know," Mr. Vargas said, "I keep a scrapbook of my kids who make it big. Got you in there. News clippings about PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX." He smiled proudly. "Showed the principal when they named you the richest man in the world. Told him that boy used to hide out in our library." Elon felt strangely moved. The idea that this man had followed his career, had taken pride in his accomplishments, meant more than all the magazine covers and TV interviews. "I wasn't an easy kid," Elon admitted. "No," Mr. Vargas agreed with a smile. "But you were a good one. That's what mattered." Another memory surfaced in Elon's mind, the day he'd stayed at school until almost midnight, working on a computer program. He'd lost track of time, and when he finally finished, he realized the building was locked up. He'd panicked, thinking he'd have to spend the night at school. But then, Mr. Vargas had appeared, keys jingling. "Thought you might still be here," he'd said, as if finding a student at school at midnight was perfectly normal. He'd walked Elon home in the dark, making sure he got there safely. "You walked me home once," Elon said suddenly. "It was very late." Mr. Vargas nodded. "Your mother was worried. She'd called the school." "You never told me that." "Didn't want to embarrass you." Mr. Vargas took a sip of his coffee. "You were doing important work. I could tell." A knock on the lounge door interrupted. "Them!" A young teacher poked her head in. "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Vargas. I didn't know you had company." She looked curiously at Elon. "It's all right, Ms. Patel. This is a former student." Mr. Vargas said it simply, not mentioning who Elon was. The teacher nodded and closed the door. Mr. Vargas chuckled. "She's new. Doesn't recognize you." The older teachers would have known right away. "I appreciate your discretion," Elon said. "I didn't come here for attention." "No, you never did like attention much." Mr. Vargas shifted in his seat, wincing slightly. "Not unless it was for your ideas." Elon noticed the pain on the old man's face. "Are you okay?" "Just old knees. They don't work like they used to." Mr. Vargas rubbed his leg. "But I can still get around." Elon felt a pang of sadness seeing this man, this silent guardian from his youth, struggling with pain, but still working hard every day. "Mr. Vargas, can I ask? I mean, is the pension good? For someone who's worked at the school as long as you have?" The old man's smile faltered slightly. "It's not much, but I don't need much." Elon nodded, not wanting to pry further. But his mind was already calculating, planning. "You know," Mr. Vargas said, his smile returning. "I always knew you'd do something special. The way you thought about things, always different from everyone else. I used to tell my wife, that Musk boy is going to change the world someday." "And what did she say?" Elon asked. Mr. Vargas's eyes grew sad for a moment. "Maria said I was right. She was good at seeing the potential in people, too." He looked down at his wedding ring. "She's been gone 15 years now." Elon wasn't sure what to say. He'd never been good with grief or emotions, but he felt the need to offer something. "I'm sorry," he said simply. "She sounds like she was a special person." "The best," Mr. Vargas agreed. "The very best." He straightened up, and his voice became lighter. "Now, tell me what brings Elon Musk back to his old school after all these years. It can't be just to have coffee with an old janitor." Elon smiled. "Actually, I'm launching an education program. New tech labs for schools across South Africa. I wanted to see this place again before making the announcement." "Always thinking big," Mr. Vargas said with approval. "This school could use better computers. The ones in the lab are older than some of the teachers." Elon's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, another message from Talia about the Cape Town meeting, and put it away. "Do you have lunch plans, Mr. Vargas?" Elon asked suddenly. The old man looked surprised. "Just my usual sandwich in my office." "Would you join me instead? We could go somewhere nice. No need for fancy places," Mr. Vargas interrupted. "The Ibo cafeteria is still open. Food's not bad." He checked his watch. "My afternoon shift doesn't start for another hour." 10 minutes later, they sat at a corner table in the nearly empty school cafeteria. A few students looked curiously in their direction, but no one approached them. "So, 52 years, Elon said, picking at his plate of macaroni. "You've seen a lot of changes here." Mr. Vargas nodded as he carefully cut his sandwich. 6 principals, dozens of teachers, thousands of students. He took a small bite. The kids are the same, though. Some scared, some brave, all trying to figure out who they are. "Why did you stay so long?" Elon asked. "Most people change jobs, look for better opportunities." Mr. Vargas was quiet for a moment, considering the question. "I found purpose here," he finally said. "After my time in the army, I needed quiet work, predictable days. Being around young people kept me hopeful." He smiled. "And I was good at it. Knowing which messes needed cleaning right away and which could wait. Which broken things needed fixing first. Which kids needed protecting," Elon added softly. Mr. Vargas nodded. "That too. You notice things when people think you're invisible." An uncomfortable thought struck Elon. "I was probably one of those people. I don't think I really saw you back then." "You saw me more than most," Mr. Vargas assured him. "You always said thank you. Even when you were lost in your thoughts, you'd say thank you for the coffee." They ate in silence for a few minutes. Elon noticed how carefully Mr. Vargas handled his food, how precisely he cut each bite. Nothing wasted. After Maria died, Mr. Vargas continued suddenly, "Work saved me. Having somewhere to go every day. Having floors to mop and light bulbs to change. Simple problems to fix. Your son in Australia. Do you visit him?" Elon asked. Mr. Vargas shook his head. "Tickets are expensive. We video call on Sundays." His expression brightened. "He has 2 children, smart kids. The girl wants to be a doctor. Your grandchildren have never seen where you work? Where you've spent your life?" "Some things can't be helped," Mr. Vargas said simply, but Elon caught the sadness in his voice. A group of boys walked by their table laughing loudly. One nudged another and pointed at Elon, whispering excitedly. "They recognize you," Mr. Vargas said with a small smile. "Fame is strange," Elon replied. "People think they know you when they really don't." Mr. Vargas nodded thoughtfully. "Must be hard sometimes." "It is," Elon admitted. "But it also opens doors. Lets me do things that matter." "Like your space rockets? And the electric cars?" "Like making sure good people are taken care of," Elon said, looking directly at Mr. Vargas. The old man seemed embarrassed. "I didn't show you my coffee mug collection to ask for anything, Mr. Musk." "Elon," he corrected, "and I know you didn't." Mr. Vargas finished his sandwich and carefully folded his napkin. "When I started here, this table was new. Now look at it." He ran his finger over a deep scratch in the surface. "Everything gets marked by time." "Some things improve with age," Elon said. Mr. Vargas chuckled. "Nice of you to say, but my knees disagree." A bell rang, signaling the end of the lunch period. "Should get back to work," Mr. Vargas said, standing slowly. "The gym needs cleaning before basketball practice." "Before you go," Elon said, "could you show me your office? The place where you keep that scrapbook you mentioned?" Mr. Vargas looked surprised by the request, then pleased. "It's nothing special. Just a small room near the boiler. But yes, I'll show you." As they walked out of the cafeteria, Elon sent another text to Talia. "Cancel all my meetings for the rest of the day. I'll be at the school longer than expected." Her reply came immediately. "The board meeting can't be moved. It's scheduled for 7 p.m. your time." Elon texted back, "I'll make it, but I'm staying here until then." He put his phone away and caught up with Mr. Vargas, who was moving slowly down the hallway, nodding at students as they passed. Each step seemed to cause him pain, but he kept a smile on his face. Elon felt a growing certainty that he had found something important here, something that went beyond his planned education program. There was a story in this school, in this man's life, that needed to be acknowledged. "It's just down here," Mr. Vargas said, pointing to a narrow corridor. "Not many people come this way." Elon followed Mr. Vargas down the hallway. The sounds of the school, slamming lockers, chattering, students squeaking sneakers, faded behind them. The corridor ended at a metal door marked Maintenance. Mr. Vargas pulled out a ring of keys and unlocked it. "Watch your step," he warned as they entered. The room was warm from the nearby boiler and smelled of cleaning supplies and old books. It was barely bigger than a storage closet, but Mr. Vargas had made it his own. A small desk stood against one wall with a chair that had been mended with duct tape. A wobbly bookshelf held cleaning schedules, repair manuals, and a few paperback novels. On the wall hung 2 framed photos, one of a smiling woman with kind eyes who must be Maria, and another of a younger Mr. Vargas in an army uniform. "This is my kingdom," Mr. Vargas said with a small laugh. 20 square feet of space, that's all mine." He pointed to an electric kettle. "I can make tea if you'd like." "I'm fine, thank you." Elon looked around, taking in every detail. "You've made it comfortable," Mr. Vargas nodded. "You don't need much space to be happy. Just enough for your memories and a good book." He reached for the bookshelf and pulled down what looked like an old-fashioned accounting ledger bound in worn leather. "This is what I wanted to show you." He handed the heavy book to Elon, who took it carefully. The cover was soft with age and use. "My memory book," Mr. Vargas explained. "Open it." Elon sat in the desk chair and opened the ledger. Inside, the yellowed pages were filled with neat handwriting. Each entry was dated and contained what looked like short stories or observations. Some had small newspaper clippings or photos attached. "What is this?" Elon asked, gently turning the pages. My students, Mr. Vargas said simply. Not all of them, just the ones who needed something extra. The ones I tried to help. Elon began to read some of the entries. September 15, 1978. Girl with the red hair being picked on for her stutter. Found her crying in the east stairwell. Told her about my cousin who stuttered but became a famous radio announcer. Made her laugh. Left a book about famous people with speech problems on her desk. Saw her reading it at lunch. She smiled at me. March 3, 1982. Boy whose father died last month back at school today. He's trying to be brave, but I saw him hiding behind the gym. Pretended I needed help moving boxes of sports equipment. Told him about losing my father when I was young. Let him talk. He helped with the boxes. His shoulders looked lighter when he left. Elon turned more pages, amazed at the level of detail and the span of time covered. 52 years of quiet kindness, recorded in this simple book. You kept track of all these students? He asked, looking up at Mr. Vargas. The old man nodded. Not their names. Never felt right to write down their names, just their stories. And sometimes I'd add notes when I heard how they were doing later in life. Elon turned more pages, moving into the late 1980s, when he would have been a student. His heart beat faster as he found an entry from his time at the school. June 12, 1988. Tall, thin boy with the science projects. Older boys took his backpack again. Found it in the trash bin and cleaned it up before returning it. He worked so hard on his rocket designs, stayed late to let him finish his computer program. His mind works differently from others. The teachers don't understand him, but I think he might change the world someday if people would just leave him alone to think. Elon stared at the words, feeling a lump in his throat. Mr. Vargas had seen him, really seen him, all those years ago. He turned more pages and found other entries about himself. November 8, 1988. Computer room boy reading about battery technology now. Found him asleep at the keyboard at midnight. Called his mother and walked him home. He talked the whole way about electric cars. Says gasoline is stupid and batteries are the future. His energy is amazing. January 20th, 1989. Thin boy being bullied again. Started mopping near the library at lunch. Bullies stay away when I'm there. Brought him coffee today while he worked on his project. He always says thank you, even when lost in his thoughts. Elon closed the book gently, overwhelmed by what he had read. You did this for all of us, he said quietly. All these years, Mr. Vargas shrugged. It's nothing special, just small things. Keeping an eye out. It is special, Elon insisted. For some of these kids, you might have been the only person who noticed them. Who cared? The school has good teachers, Mr. Vargas said loyally. Teachers have to focus on grades and tests, Elon said. They don't always see what you saw. He handed the book back to Mr. Vargas, who held it carefully, like something precious. Why did you stay? Elon asked. You could have done so many other things. Better paying jobs. Mr. Vargas ran his hand over the leather cover of his memory book. I found my purpose here. Watching young minds grow. Being the person I needed when I was young. He smiled. And I'm good at cleaning floors, too. Elon laughed, but his mind was racing. He thought about the billions of dollars he controlled. The companies he had built, the dreams of Mars and sustainable energy and brain-computer interfaces. And here was Mr. Vargas, who had changed countless lives with nothing but a mop, a kind word, and the willingness to see people who felt invisible. Mr. Vargas, Elon said carefully, would you show me the rest of the school? The places that matter to you?" The old man looked surprised, then pleased. "You have time for that?" Elon checked his watch. "I have 4 more hours before I need to leave for a meeting I can't miss. And I want to see the school through your eyes." Mr. Vargas put his memory book back on the shelf. "Then let me show you the real Pretoria Boys High School," he said with a smile, the parts most people never notice. As they left the tiny office, Elon had already made up his mind. Something needed to be done. He just wasn't sure what. Not yet. But he was Elon Musk. When he decided to solve a problem, it got solved, and Mr. Vargas was now at the top of his problem-solving list. For the next 2 hours, Elon followed Mr. Vargas through the school. They walked slowly because of the old man's painful knees. Mr. Vargas showed him hidden corners and secret spots, places where generations of students had carved their names, where roof leaks had been patched again and again, where the building showed its age and history. "This spot here," Mr. Vargas said, pointing to a windowsill in an empty classroom. "This is where the shy kids sit. Always in the corner, by the window. Different kids every year, but always the same spot." Elon looked at the worn wooden sill. "I sat there in English class." Mr. Vargas nodded. "I know. I remember polishing that windowsill while you read a book about rockets." They moved on to the gym, where a basketball practice was just ending. Mr. Vargas nodded to the coach, who waved. "Back." "Now I need to clean this floor," Mr. Vargas said. "You probably have important things to do." "I'll help," Elon said. Mr. Vargas raised his eyebrows. "The richest man in the world wants to mop a gym floor?" "The richest man in the world started out as a kid who could have used more practice at helpful things," Elon replied. "Show me what to do." To the amazement of the lingering basketball players, Elon Musk spent the next 45 minutes helping Mr. Vargas clean the gym floor. The old man showed him how to move the mop in long, even strokes, how to wring it just right, how to avoid leaving streaks. Elon was surprised at how physical the work was. His arms began to ache after just 10 minutes. "You do this every day?" he asked, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Every school day for 52 years, Mr. Vargas confirmed. He was working more slowly than Elon, but with perfect technique. Good exercise. As they worked side by side, Elon noticed Mr. Vargas wincing whenever he had to put weight on his left leg. "Your knee is bothering you," Elon said. It wasn't a question. Mr. Vargas didn't try to deny it. "Old injury from my army days. Got worse with age. Have you seen a doctor?" Shadow passed over Mr. Vargas's face. "Doctors cost money. But surely the school provides health insurance?" Elon asked. Mr. Vargas shrugged. "Basic coverage. Doesn't pay for much beyond simple checkups. Certainly not knee replacement surgery." Elon stopped mopping. "You need knee replacement surgery?" "That's what the doctor said 5 years ago," Mr. Vargas admitted. "But even with insurance, my share of the cost would be more than I make in a year." "So you just live with the pain?" Elon couldn't keep the shock from his voice. "You get used to it," Mr. Vargas said simply. "And I take pills when it's really bad." They finished cleaning the gym in silence. Elon's mind was racing, calculating costs, considering options. When they were done, Mr. Vargas checked his watch. "Almost time for your meeting," he said. "Thank you for your help today." "I have a bit more time," Elon said. "Can we sit for a minute? I'd like to ask you something." They sat on a bench at the edge of the gym. Mr. Vargas sighed with relief as he took weight off his legs. "Mr. Vargas," Elon began carefully, "I hope you don't mind me asking, but what are your plans for retirement?" The old man's face grew serious. "Work as long as I can," he said. "The pension isn't enough to live on. Not with rent and medicine and food prices these days. But you can't work forever, Elon said gently. No, Mr. Vargas agreed. Another year or two, maybe. Then I'll have to move in with my son in Australia. His voice grew sad. I don't want to be a burden to him. He has his own family, his own bills. But I don't see another choice. What about your apartment here? Elon asked. You'd have to sell it? Mr. Vargas gave a short laugh. I don't own anything to sell. I've rented the same small place for 30 years. Rent goes up every year, but my pay doesn't keep pace. Elon was stunned. He'd suspected Mr. Vargas's situation wasn't ideal, but hearing the reality was still shocking. This man, who had given so much to so many, was facing his final years in poverty and dependency. What about savings? Elon asked. After working so long, Mr. Vargas looked down at his worn hands. Maria's cancer took all that, he said quietly. 3 years of treatments. Good years, though. Worth every cent. He smiled at the memory of his wife. And then there was helping my son get started in Australia. Paying for my grandson's braces. Life uses up money fast, Mr. Musk. Elon. He too corrected automatically, his mind still processing what he was hearing. The thing is, Mr. Vargas continued, I don't need much, never have. But my knees hurt too much now to work properly. Some days I can hardly get up the stairs. The principal knows, but he keeps me on because he's kind. Many would have let me go by now. And if your knees were fixed? Elon asked. If the pain was gone? Mr. Vargas looked thoughtful. I could work a few more years, save a little more, maybe even visit my grandchildren while I can still travel. Elon nodded, making mental notes. One more question, if you don't mind. If you could do anything else at this school besides mopping floors, what would it be? Mr. Vargas didn't need to think about it. I'd teach the kids practical skills. How to fix things. How to use tools. How to solve problems with their hands. His face lit up with enthusiasm. So many bright students here who can solve math equations but can't change a light bulb or fix a leaky faucet. Life skills are important too. Elon checked his watch reluctantly. I have to go to that meeting now, but I'd like to come back, if that's okay. Next week, maybe. You're always welcome, Mr. Vargas said, but a busy man like you has better things to do than visit an old janitor. Actually, I don't, Elon said with complete sincerity. This has been the most meaningful day I've had in a long time. Mr. Vargas looked embarrassed but pleased. You were always a strange boy, Elon Musk, in the best possible way. As Elon stood to leave, Mr. Vargas struggled to his feet, grimacing with pain. Without thinking, Elon reached out to help him up. The old man's hand was rough with calluses, but his grip was still strong. Thank you for today, Elon said, for everything, years ago and now. Come back anytime, Mr. Vargas replied. I have more stories to tell. Elon walked out of the school to where his driver was waiting. His head was buzzing with ideas, and his heart felt both heavy and strangely hopeful. He had much to think about on the flight to Cape Town. To the airport, Mr. Musk? The driver asked, opening the car door. Yes, Elon said, sliding into the back seat. And I'll need privacy for some calls. As the car pulled away from Pretoria Boys High School, Elon looked back at the red brick building. Somewhere inside, Mr. Vargas was still working, still cleaning, still in pain. The thought made Elon's jaw tighten with determination. Once the privacy screen was up, Elon pulled out his phone and called Talia. I need you to gather some information, he said, without preamble when she answered. Everything you can find about Pretoria Boys High School's budget, staff salaries, and pension plans. Focus on non-teaching staff. Also, I need information on Salvador Vargas, the head janitor. How much he makes, his employment history, his pension details. Got it, Talia said, not questioning the unusual request. Anything else? Yes. Research knee replacement surgery costs in South Africa. Best doctors, best hospitals, and find out who handles school maintenance, staff education, or training programs nationally. This is for the new education initiative? Talia asked. It's becoming something more, Elon replied. I'll explain later. He ended the call and stared out the window at the streets of Pretoria sliding by. He thought about Mr. Vargas's tiny office, his worn memory book filled with 52 years of quiet, kindness. He thought about the pain in the old man's eyes when he talked about not being a burden to his son. He thought about the contrast between his own wealth and Mr. Vargas's struggle. By the time he boarded his private jet, Talia had already sent the first batch of information. Elon settled into his seat and began reading through the documents on his tablet. What he found made him increasingly angry. After 47 years of full-time work, Mr. Vargas's monthly pension would be just enough to cover rent for a small apartment. Not food, not medicine, just rent. The school's maintenance staff had received only 2 small raises in the past decade, while administration salaries had grown substantially. Elon made more notes, his fingers moving quickly over the screen. He called his lawyer next. Jim, I need to set up a new foundation, something focused on education support staff, janitors, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, the people who keep schools running but get overlooked. Interesting angle, Jim said. What's the catalyst? I met someone today who's been changing lives for 52 years with nothing but a mop and kindness, Elon said. I want to help him, but I want it to be bigger than just one person. I'm thinking nationally, maybe globally eventually. Budget? Jim asked. Elon thought for a moment. Let's start with 50 million. There was a pause on the other end of the line. That's a substantial commitment for a new foundation. It's not enough, Elon said firmly, but it's a start. I want this moving quickly. Draft the paperwork and have it ready by the end of the week. Next, he called the head of his education initiative team. Grace, I want to add a new component to the Tech Labs program, he said. A focus on practical skills, building things, fixing things, hands-on problem solving. Like shop class? Grace asked. More than that, Elon replied. An innovation center where kids can learn both digital and physical skills, coding and carpentry, AI and plumbing. The future needs people who can think and do. He could hear Grace typing notes. That's actually brilliant, she said. Addresses a huge gap in modern education. I'll work it into the proposal. And one more thing, Elon added. I want to create a new position, a mentor role for someone with practical experience who can guide students. Not a traditional teacher, but someone who knows how things work in the real world. By the time the jet began its descent into Cape Town, Elon had made 12 calls and sent 23 emails. He had the outline of a plan, but some parts still needed work. While he sat through the rescheduled meeting with the education minister, his mind kept drifting back to Pretoria, to Mr. Vargas and his memory book. Later that night, in his hotel room, Elon received one more piece of information from Talia, Mr. Vargas's home address and phone number. He stared at it for a long time, thinking about what to do next. The solution had to be more than just money. Mr. Vargas wasn't the type of person who would accept charity, even from a former student. The help needed to come with dignity, with purpose. with a way for Mr. Vargas to keep contributing, to keep helping students, but without the physical strain that was causing him so much pain. Elon pulled out his notebook, the old-fashioned paper kind he still used for his most important ideas, and began to sketch out the next phase of his plan. By the time the sun rose over Cape Town, he knew exactly what he needed to do. He would return to Pretoria Boys High School in 3 weeks, and this time he would bring more than just memories and questions. He would bring a solution. 3 weeks passed in a blur of meetings, phone calls, and legal documents. Elon worked with his usual intensity, staying up late into the night to perfect the details of his plan. When the day finally came to return to Pretoria, he felt both excited and nervous. This time, he didn't arrive alone. Talia came with him, along with a lawyer and 2 members of his education initiative team. He'd also arranged for the school principal to be available, though he hadn't explained exactly why. "Remember," Elon told his team as their cars pulled up to the school, "nothing happens until I've talked to Mr. Vargas. This is about him first." Inside the school, students were just finishing their day. Some recognized Elon and pointed, whispering excitedly to each other. He smiled and nodded but kept walking, looking for Mr. Vargas. They found him in the gym, cleaning up after a volleyball game. Even from a distance, Elon could see the pain in his movements as he bent to pick up stray pieces of trash. "Mr. Vargas," Elon called out, his voice echoing in the large space. The old man turned, surprise and then pleasure crossing his face as he recognized Elon. "You came back," he said, leaning on his broom. "I didn't think you would." "I promised I would," Elon replied. He introduced his team briefly. "They'll be meeting with the principal while you and I talk. Is that okay?" Mr. Vargas looked curious, but nodded. "What would you like to talk about?" "Actually," Elon said, "I was hoping you could show me more of the school. The places that need the most work, the spots that get overlooked." Mr. Vargas raised his eyebrows. "You want a tour of the school's problems?" "Exactly," Elon said with a smile. "Nobody knows them better than you." For the next hour, Mr. Vargas led Elon through the school, pointing out all the issues that had built up over decades. Leaky ceilings, outdated wiring, inefficient heating systems, worn-out equipment. Elon took notes and photos on his phone, asking detailed questions about each problem. "The science lab sinks haven't worked right since 1995, Mr. Vargas explained as they examined the chemistry room. "I fix them with parts I find at the hardware store, but they need to be completely replaced." "And this?" Elon asked, pointing to a makeshift shelf unit. "I built that after the earthquake in 2010, Mr. Vargas said proudly. "The original cabinets fell apart, and the school didn't have budget for new ones. Made it from old desks that were being thrown out." Everywhere they went, Elon saw evidence of Mr. Vargas's ingenuity and care. He hadn't just cleaned the school for 52 years, he'd literally held parts of it together through creativity and determination. They ended their tour at the school workshop, a large room filled with tools and half-finished wood projects. Unlike the rest of the school, this space was neat and well-organized, with tools hanging in their proper places and the floor swept clean. "This is my favorite place," Mr. Vargas admitted. "The woodworking teacher lets me use it sometimes on weekends. I've made furniture for teachers, repaired things for the school." He ran his hand lovingly over a workbench. "Working with your hands is good for the soul." Elon looked around the workshop thoughtfully. "You know a lot about how this school works. The systems, the structure, the people. After 52 years, you learn a thing or two," Mr. Vargas said, with a modest shrug. "What would you change?" Elon asked suddenly. "If you could change anything about this school, what would it be?" Mr. Vargas thought for a moment. "I'd make sure every student learned practical skills," he said finally. "Not just book learning, but how to solve real problems, how to build and fix things." He pointed to a broken chair in the corner. "A student did that yesterday, leaned back too far. In my day, he would have had to fix it himself. Now it just gets thrown away." Elon nodded, making more notes. "I'd also make the building work better for everyone," Mr. Vargas continued, warming to the topic. "Better light for reading, more quiet spaces for the kids who need calm, smoother floors for wheelchairs." He looked almost embarrassed by his enthusiasm. "I've had a lot of time to think about these things." "I can tell," Elon said. "You've thought about problems that most people don't even notice." Mr. Vargas gestured at his janitor's uniform. "When you wear this, you become invisible. You see things others miss." "Not invisible," Elon said firmly. "Essential. The school couldn't function without you." Mr. Vargas looked pleased but uncomfortable with the praise. He glanced at his watch. "I should get back to work. The east hallway still needs mopping." "Actually," Elon said, "I was hoping you could join me for a meeting with the principal. I have something I'd like to discuss with both of you." Mr. Vargas looked down at his work clothes. "Like this? I'm not dressed for a meeting." "You're perfect just as you are," Elon assured him. "This meeting is about you, after all." Confusion crossed the old man's face. "About me? Why would you and the principal need to meet about me?" Elon smiled. "Because I have a proposition I'd like to share with you. Something that I think could benefit you, the school, and generations of students to come." "I don't understand," Mr. Vargas said, clearly puzzled. "You will," Elon promised. "Just trust me for a little longer. Can you do that?" Mr. Vargas studied Elon's face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "I trusted you with my after-hours key when you were 16, he said with a small smile. "I suppose I can trust you now." Together, they walked toward the principal's office, Mr. Vargas moving slowly with his painful knees, Elon matching his pace step for step. When they entered the principal's office, several people were already seated around a conference table. Principal Ndlovu rose to greet them, looking both excited and confused. Talia and the rest of Elon's team sat with folders and tablets ready. "Mr. Musk, thank you for coming," the principal said, shaking Elon's hand. Then he turned to the janitor, with visible surprise. "Mr. Vargas? I didn't realize you would be joining us." "Mr. Vargas is actually the reason for this meeting," Elon explained. "Please, let's all sit down." Mr. Vargas hesitated, clearly uncomfortable being the center of attention in such an important meeting. Elon pulled out a chair for him, and the old man sat down carefully. "First," Elon began, "I want to thank Principal Ndlovu for accommodating this unexpected meeting. What I'm about to propose will require the school's cooperation." The principal nodded, looking intrigued. "We're honored to have you take an interest in your alma mater, Mr. Musk." "My interest was rekindled by a chance encounter 3 weeks ago," Elon said, glancing at Mr. Vargas. "I discovered that my old school janitor was still working here at age 80. But what I discovered next was even more remarkable, that this man has been quietly changing lives and maintaining this school for over 5 decades. Mr. Vargas looked down at his hands, embarrassed by the praise. "During my visit, Mr. Vargas showed me his memory book," Elon continued, "a record of all the students he's helped over the years. Students who were bullied, who were struggling, who needed someone to see them." He turned to Mr. Vargas. "I was one of those students." The principal looked at Mr. Vargas with new respect. "I had no idea you kept such records, Salvador." "Just for myself," Mr. Vargas said quietly. To remember. Today, Mr. Vargas showed me around the school. Elon went on. He pointed out all the problems that need fixing, the systems that need updating. His knowledge of this building is extraordinary. But what struck me most was his vision for the students, how they need to learn practical skills alongside their academic studies. Elon opened a folder that Talia handed him. That's why I'm establishing the Vargas Foundation, with an initial endowment of $50 million. The room went silent. Mr. Vargas's mouth fell open in shock. The foundation will have several missions, Elon explained, warming to his topic. First, to recognize and support the unsung heroes of education, the janitors, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and other staff who make schools function but rarely get the recognition or compensation they deserve. He handed a document to the principal. The foundation will begin by funding a comprehensive renovation of Pretoria Boys High School, addressing all the issues Mr. Vargas identified today. Principal Ndlovu skimmed the document, his eyes growing wider. This is extremely generous. Mr. Musk? There's more, Elon said. He turned to Mr. Vargas. The foundation will also create a new position at this school and eventually at schools across South Africa. The role will be called Building Steward, and it will combine maintenance oversight with student mentoring. Mr. Vargas listened intently, his weathered face showing confusion and growing hope. The Building Steward will be responsible for teaching students practical skills, how to use tools, how to repair things, how to solve physical problems. They'll work alongside teachers, but with a focus on hands-on learning. Elon leaned forward. And I want you, Mr. Vargas, to be the first building steward. Me? Mr. Vargas whispered. But my knees. I can barely... The position comes with full medical benefits, Elon interrupted gently, including surgery to fix your knees. And the salary is 3 times what you currently make as head janitor. Tears welled up in Mr. Vargas's eyes. I don't know what to say. Say you'll consider it, Elon said. The position can be as hands-on or hands-off as you want it to be. You can focus on mentoring students rather than physical labor. You can set your own hours. And when you do decide to retire fully, your pension will be calculated based on your new salary, not your janitor's wages. The principal looked at the documents again. This is an incredible opportunity, Salvador, for you and for our school. Mr. Vargas wiped his eyes with a handkerchief. Why would you do this for me, Mr. Musk? Because 52 years ago, you started, coming to work every day with a mop and a bucket, and a willingness to see people who felt invisible, Elon said simply. You saw me when I needed to be seen. I'm just returning the favor. Talia slid another document across the table. There's one more thing, Mr. Vargas. The foundation will pay for your son and grandchildren to visit from Australia next month. And whenever you want to visit them in the future, a ticket will be waiting for you. Mr. Vargas covered his face with his hands, his shoulders shaking slightly. The room fell silent, giving him a moment to compose himself. Finally, he looked up, his eyes red, but his expression determined. I accept your offer, Mr. Musk. But on one condition. Elon raised his eyebrows. What condition? That I can still clean the east hallway myself, Mr. Vargas said with a small smile. I've been cleaning that floor for 52 years. It wouldn't feel right to stop completely. Elon laughed, relief and joy flooding through him. Deal. You can clean any hallway you want, Mr. Vargas, but only after your knees are fixed. The principal extended his hand to Mr. Vargas. Congratulations, Salvador, or should I say, Building Steward Vargas. As they shook hands, Elon sat back, and watched the emotion on Mr. Vargas's face, a mixture of disbelief, gratitude, and the quiet dignity that had always been part of who he was. Later, as they walked out of the meeting, Mr. Vargas turned to Elon. "There's something else I need to show you," he said. "Something I've kept for a very long time. It's in my office." "What is it?" Elon asked, curious. "Something you created," Mr. Vargas said mysteriously. "Something you threw away because you thought it was a failure. But I saved it because I thought it had promise." Elon felt a tingle of curiosity. "Lead the way, Mr. Building Steward." Mr. Vargas led Elon back to his small office near the boiler room. The space seemed even smaller with both of them inside. Mr. Vargas moved to a metal filing cabinet in the corner, pulled out a small key from his pocket, and unlocked the bottom drawer. "I don't show this to many people," he said, reaching into the drawer. "Some things you keep private." He pulled out a flat, rectangular package wrapped in brown paper and tied with string. The paper was yellowed with age, the string faded. Whatever was inside had been stored for a very long time. "What is it?" Elon asked, genuinely puzzled. Mr. Vargas carefully untied the string and unwrapped the paper. Inside was a stack of papers, the edges worn and slightly discolored. He handed them to Elon. "You threw these away," Mr. Vargas said. "Back in 1989. You were working late in the science room on some kind of project. When you left, I came in to clean and found these in the trash bin." Elon looked down at the papers in his hands. They were covered with drawings, diagrams, and calculations, all in his teenage handwriting. At the top of the first page, he had written "Electric Car Battery System Design" in careful block letters. "I remember this," Elon said softly, amazed. "This was my idea for a better battery configuration." He flipped through the pages, seeing diagrams of cell arrangements, cooling systems, and charge controllers. "I got frustrated because I couldn't solve the thermal management problems. I thought it was a failure." "It didn't look like a failure to me," Mr. Vargas said. "I don't understand all that technical stuff, but I could tell it was important. You were always working on important things." Elon continued studying the old drawings. They were crude compared to Tesla's current technology, but he could see elements that had eventually found their way into his company's battery designs. Ideas he had thought were new had actually been in his mind decades earlier. "Why did you keep these?" Elon asked, looking up from the papers. Mr. Vargas smiled. "I've saved lots of things students threw away over the years. Poems, drawings, stories, things they created but didn't value. Sometimes the creator is the worst judge of what matters." Elon looked back at the drawings. One page showed a detailed sketch of battery cells arranged in a specific pattern with cooling channels running between them. It was surprisingly similar to an early Tesla battery pack design. "This is incredible," Elon murmured. "Some of these ideas, they're actually not that different from what we ended up using at Tesla." "I thought they might be valuable someday," Mr. Vargas said. "Not in money, but in meaning. That's why I kept them safe all these years." "You knew who I was when I came back 3 weeks ago," Elon said. "You'd been following my career." Mr. Vargas nodded. "When you started Tesla, I saw a news story about electric cars. I remembered these drawings. I thought, he's doing it. He's making his teenage dreams real." I was so proud. Elon felt a lump in his throat. The idea that someone had believed in his discarded ideas long before he became successful, had seen their value when even he couldn't, was deeply moving. "Mr. Vargas, do you realize what this means?" Elon asked. "These drawings show I was thinking about electric car battery systems when I was 17 years old. These are practically historical documents for Tesla now. The old janitor looked pleased but confused. They're just some old papers I saved. They're more than that, Elon said. They show the evolution of ideas that became a multi-billion-dollar company. He carefully refolded the papers. Would you mind if I took these? I'd like to have them properly preserved. They're yours, Mr. Vargas said. I just kept them safe for you. Elon studied the old man's face, seeing the kindness and wisdom there. You've been keeping a lot of things safe, haven't you? Not just papers and buildings, but people too. Mr. Vargas looked embarrassed. I just did what seemed right. That's a rare quality, Elon said. He carefully wrapped the papers back in their protective covering. Thank you for saving these. And thank you for everything else too. Mr. Vargas smiled. Maybe now you'll believe me when I say I always knew you would do important things. As they left the small office, Elon felt a strange sense of things coming full circle. The boy with big dreams had become a man with the power to make dreams come true. Not just his own, but others as well. And the quiet janitor who had once protected that boy was now being protected in return. When will they start calling you building steward? Elon asked as they walked down the corridor. It still doesn't feel real, Mr. Vargas admitted. I keep thinking I might wake up tomorrow and find it was all a dream. It's real, Elon assured him. Your knees will be fixed. Your grandchildren will visit. And students will learn from your lifetime of knowledge. Mr. Vargas stopped walking, his eyes suddenly shining with tears. You know what means the most to me? That someone saw what I've been doing all these years. That it mattered to someone. It mattered, Elon said firmly. More than you know. 2 months passed. During that time, Mr. Vargas had surgery on both knees. The operations were successful, and he was now walking without pain for the first time in years. The school had been buzzing with rumors about changes coming, about Elon Musk's visits, and about their elderly janitor's mysterious absence and new title. On a bright Tuesday morning, students and staff filed into the school auditorium, whispering excitedly to each other. A stage had been set up at the front with chairs for important guests. News vans were parked outside. Principal Ndlovu stood at the podium, calling for quiet. Today is a historic day for Pretoria Boys High School, he announced. We are honored to welcome back our distinguished alumnus, Mr. Elon Musk, who has an important announcement to make. Elon walked onto the stage to enthusiastic applause. He wore a simple dark suit and looked more serious than he usually did at public events. He shook the principal's hand and approached the microphone. Good morning, he began. Many of you know me as the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. Some of you know I was once a student here, just like you. He paused, looking out at the sea of young faces. But today, I'm here to talk about someone far more important to this school than I ever was. He gestured to the side of the stage, where Mr. Vargas stood waiting. I'd like to introduce Mr. Salvador Vargas. Mr. Vargas walked onto the stage, not with his former painful shuffle, but with confident steps. He wore a new gray suit instead of his janitor's uniform. The students looked confused. Some of them recognized the school janitor, but many didn't. For 52 years, Elon continued, Mr. Vargas has been the heart and soul of this school. As head janitor, he kept this building clean and functioning, but he did much more than that. He protected students who were bullied. He encouraged those who were struggling. He fixed things that were broken, both objects and sometimes people. Mr. Vargas looked down modestly as Elon spoke. Today, I am proud to announce the establishment of the Vargas Foundation, funded with a $50 million endowment. A collective gasp went through the auditorium. Cameras flashed. The foundation will support unrecognized heroes of education like Mr. Vargas, the janitors, cafeteria workers, and support staff who make schools function but rarely receive the credit they deserve. Elon outlined the foundation's mission, explaining how it would fund better wages, training, and recognition for support staff across South Africa and eventually worldwide. The students listened with growing interest. Here at Pretoria Boys High, we're starting with a full renovation of the Science Building, which will be renamed the Vargas Innovation Center. More gasps and applause filled the room. The center will feature modern labs, workshops, and spaces designed specifically for hands-on learning. Mr. Vargas's eyes widened in surprise. This part of the plan had been kept secret from him. And leading this new center, Elon continued, will be the school's first building steward, Mr. Salvador Vargas himself, who will teach students practical skills and problem-solving based on his lifetime of experience. The applause was thunderous now. Mr. Vargas looked overwhelmed, his eyes shining with emotion. Elon gestured for Mr. Vargas to join him at the microphone. The old man stepped forward hesitantly. "I'm not good at speeches," Mr. Vargas said, his voice wavering slightly. "I've spent most of my life in the background, just doing my job. But this school has been my home for 52 years. The students have been my family." He looked out at the audience, his expression earnest. "I've watched thousands of young people grow up in these halls. I've seen their struggles and their triumphs. And if I've learned one thing, it's that everyone has value. Everyone deserves to be seen." His simple words resonated through the quiet auditorium. Even the restless teenagers seemed moved. "Thank you, Mr. Musk, for seeing me," Mr. Vargas concluded. "And thank you all for allowing me to be part of your lives." The standing ovation lasted nearly 5 minutes. News reporters crowded forward, asking questions about the foundation, about the renovation plans, about this unusual partnership between a billionaire and a school janitor. Through it all, Elon stayed close to Mr. Vargas, making sure he wasn't overwhelmed, ensuring that this was his moment to shine after decades in the shadows. When the ceremony ended and the crowd began to disperse, Mr. Vargas turned to Elon with a question in his eyes. "Why name it after me?" he asked quietly. "You could have named it anything." "Because names matter," Elon replied, "and yours deserves to be remembered." After the assembly, reporters surrounded Elon and Mr. Vargas. Camera lights flashed as journalists shouted questions. "Mr. Musk, why focus on janitors and cafeteria workers instead of teachers? Mr. Vargas, how does it feel to have a building named after you? Is this just a publicity stunt for Tesla?" Elon raised his hands for quiet. "This isn't about publicity," he said firmly. "This is about recognizing people who are vital to education, but often invisible in the system." He gestured for Talia to join him. She handed him a tablet, and he pulled up a series of charts and research findings. "We've been studying the role of support staff in education," Elon explained to the reporters. "The data shows something remarkable. In schools where janitors, cafeteria workers, and bus drivers have better working conditions and deeper connections, with students, dropout rates decrease by up to 15%. The journalists began taking notes as Elon continued. "Think about it. These staff members see students in different contexts than teachers do. A shy kid might never speak in class, but will talk to the lunch lady every day. A troubled teen might avoid teachers, but trust the janitor who doesn't grade them or judge them." Mr. Vargas nodded in agreement, though he looked uncomfortable with all the attention. "Our research found that 62% of at-risk students reported having a meaningful connection with non-teaching staff. Elon continued. For many students, especially those from difficult backgrounds, these relationships can be life-saving. A reporter raised her hand. Can you give us specific examples? Elon looked at Mr. Vargas, who hesitated, then spoke quietly. I remember a boy about 15 years ago, Mr. Vargas said. He was new to the school, very angry, getting into fights. One day I found him behind the gym with a bottle of pills. Mr. Vargas's voice grew softer. I sat with him for 2 hours, just talked, called the counselor when he was ready. That boy graduated and became a doctor. He still sends me a card every Christmas. The reporters were silent, captivated by the simple story. That's just one example, Elon said. Mr. Vargas has hundreds more, many documented in his memory book. And he's not alone. There are people like him in schools everywhere, making differences that don't show up in test scores, but show up in lives saved. Another reporter called out, "What exactly will the Vargas Foundation do?" First, we'll study these relationships more deeply, Elon explained. We'll identify best practices and develop programs to enhance connections between support staff and students. Second, we'll work to ensure these essential workers receive better pay, training, and recognition. He pulled up another chart on his tablet. The average school janitor in South Africa makes just enough to stay above the poverty line. Most work second jobs. Many retire into poverty despite decades of service. The Vargas Foundation will advocate for policy changes to fix these problems. The same reporter followed up. And the building renovation? The Vargas Innovation Center will be a model for what education spaces can be, Elon said, with growing enthusiasm. Labs where students can build electric vehicles and solar panels. Workshops where they can learn to fix things instead of throwing them away. Spaces designed for collaboration between academic subjects and practical skills. Mr. Vargas stepped forward. "If I may add something," he said. His voice was quiet but clear. "I've watched education change over 52 years. Students know more facts than ever before, but many can't solve simple problems with their hands. The new center will help fix that gap." As the press conference continued, students gathered around the edges of the room, listening with interest. Some were taking pictures with their phones. Others were looking at Mr. Vargas with new respect, seeing the janitor in a completely different light. One bold student raised his hand. "Mr. Vargas, will you teach us how to build rockets like Mr. Musk?" The old man smiled. "I'll teach you how to use tools and solve problems. Where you fly with those skills is up to you." Later, after the reporters had left, Elon and Mr. Vargas sat alone in the principal's office, taking a moment of quiet amid the excitement. "It's a lot to take in," Mr. Vargas said, looking a bit overwhelmed. "Too much?" Elon asked with concern. Mr. Vargas shook his head. "Not too much, just different. I've spent my life working quietly. Now, suddenly, everyone wants to hear what I have to say." "They should have been listening all along," Elon said. "That's the point of all this, to make people listen to the voices they've been ignoring." Mr. Vargas nodded thoughtfully. "My wife would have loved this. Maria always said schools should value everyone who works there, not just those with fancy degrees." "She sounds wise," Elon said. "The wisest person I ever knew," Mr. Vargas agreed. He looked at Elon curiously. "What made you think of all this? The foundation, the center, everything?" Elon considered the question. "When I found you still mopping floors at 80 with painful knees, I was angry at first. It seemed unfair. But then I realized unfairness without action doesn't help anyone. So I started thinking about how to fix not just your situation, but the whole system. You always did think big, Mr. Vargas said with a smile. I learned from the best, Elon replied. You taught me to see problems nobody else noticed, to fix things that others thought couldn't be fixed. Mr. Vargas looked surprised. I did? Every day, Elon said, just by doing your job the way you did it. Outside, they could hear the excited voices of students still discussing the morning's announcement. The news was spreading through the school and beyond. Something important had happened, something that would change many lives, starting with the life of an 80-year-old janitor who had thought his biggest contributions were already behind him. He couldn't have been more wrong. 6 months passed in a whirlwind of activity. The renovation of the science building began immediately after the announcement. Architects and engineers worked closely with Mr. Vargas, incorporating his ideas about practical spaces where students could learn by doing. During this time, Mr. Vargas started his new role as building steward. Even without a finished center, he began teaching small groups of students in the school workshop. Word spread quickly among the student body about the janitor who could fix anything, and soon he had regular classes filled with eager learners. On a sunny afternoon in October, the newly completed Vargas Innovation Center was ready for its official opening. A red ribbon stretched across the entrance to the building. A crowd had gathered: students, teachers, local officials, and media. Inside the building, Elon walked with Mr. Vargas through the finished spaces one last time before the ceremony. The old science wing had been transformed. Modern labs with cutting-edge equipment stood next to workshops filled with tools. Large windows flooded the spaces with natural light. Everywhere they looked, they saw touches that reflected Mr. Vargas's vision for how learning spaces should work. What do you think? Elon asked as they stood in the main workshop. Mr. Vargas ran his hand along a workbench, one he had designed himself. It's beyond anything I could have imagined, he said softly. Thank you for making an old man's dreams come true. They made their way outside for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Mr. Vargas, looking healthy and energetic after his knee surgeries, stood beside Elon at the podium. Behind them, a group of students waited excitedly to demonstrate projects they had been working on with their new building steward. After the speeches and the ribbon cutting, the students came forward one by one to show what they had built. One girl demonstrated a simple robot she had programmed to sort recycling. A boy showed a miniature solar-powered car he had constructed. Mr. Vargas taught us how to use tools properly, the boy explained to the crowd, and how to think through problems step by step. Elon nodded approvingly. These were exactly the kinds of practical skills he had envisioned when planning the center. As the demonstrations concluded, Elon stepped back to the microphone. We have one final announcement. Today, he said, something even Mr. Vargas doesn't know about yet. Mr. Vargas looked up in surprise. When Mr. Vargas showed me his office a few months ago, he gave me something remarkable. Battery design drawings I had created as a teenage student, here and then thrown away. Mr. Vargas had saved them for over 40 years. Elon held up the yellowed papers, carefully preserved in a glass frame. What I didn't realize then was how significant these drawings would become. After studying them more carefully, our engineers at Tesla discovered that my teenage sketches contained an approach to battery thermal management that, while crude, inspired a new direction in our research. The crowd murmured with interest. The resulting patent has led to a breakthrough in our battery technology, Elon continued. And as the legal creator of the original concept, I've decided that Mr. Vargas, who preserved these drawings and recognized their value when I did not, will receive 5% of all revenues from products using this technology. Gasps and applause erupted from the audience. Mr. Vargas stood frozen in shock. Based on our projections, Elon added, that amount will likely reach several $1 million over the next decade. Cameras flashed as reporters rushed to capture Mr. Vargas's reaction. The old man's face showed complete disbelief. Elon turned to him. You kept my dreams safe until I was ready for them. It's only fair that you share in their success. Mr. Vargas shook his head in wonder. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Elon assured him, shaking his hand as the crowd cheered. After the ceremony, as people mingled and explored the new building, Mr. Vargas pulled Elon aside to a quiet corner. There's something I need to tell you, he said, his expression suddenly serious. Something I've kept secret for over 40 years. Elon looked at him curiously. Mr. Vargas leaned closer and whispered something in Elon's ear, words that no one else could hear. Elon's eyes widened in shock. He stared at Mr. Vargas, trying to process what he had just learned. Is it true? Elon asked, his voice barely audible. Mr. Vargas nodded solemnly. I've wanted to tell you for so long, but the timing was never right. Now, with everything that's happened, you deserve to know. Elon stood in silence, the revelation changing everything he thought he knew about his past and his connection to this man who had been so much more than just a school janitor. The truth that Mr. Vargas had kept hidden for decades would forever alter Elon's understanding of his own journey and the unseen forces that had shaped his life. It was a secret that connected them in ways neither could have imagined, a final gift more valuable than buildings or millions. But that secret was theirs alone, at least for now. Thank you for joining me for this heartwarming story about recognition, kindness, and the profound impact one person can have on another's life. Where are you listening from today? Drop your location in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button to help spread kindness and positivity to others who might need this message. The small acts of kindness we show others, just like Mr. Vargas did for young Elon, can change lives in ways we may never fully understand. And if you enjoyed this story, don't miss the video appearing on your screen right now for another inspiring tale that will warm your heart. Click on it now, and I'll see you there.